I'm Vanessa Van Edwards. I'm a behavioral researcher and best-selling author. My books Captivate and Cues teach people the 97 signals to be charismatic. I also teach communication at Harvard University and have online courses for smart people who want to learn social skills.
How to be conversationally present.
Learning how to become an active listener isn't a nice to have, it's a need to have. Listening is an active, physical, emotional behavior, not just hearing words. The goal is listening to understand, not just listening to reply. I have kind of a weird way to think about listening, which is I want you to listen loudly. A lot of the time, merely just being present isn't enough. For someone to truly feel heard, to feel like they can keep opening up, you have to make sure that they hear you're listening. This means sending clear signals of listening to show them, I am here with you and I want to deeply understand you. The other benefit of active listening is it also gives you more intention. If we are going in with the intention to listen well, not fake listen, it gives you purpose, which engages you more in the conversation. I listen for cues, which makes me very engaged, but also increases my own presence. A trick that I play in my own head is sometimes I pretend that I'm about to introduce this person on stage because it makes me listen to remember. It makes me listen, one, for facts that I want to keep in the back of my head about the person, but second, it makes me listen and ask questions that are seeking good nuggets, little tidbits that I will want to share to brag and cheer for them. Let's talk about how to create a listening presence. This is listening loudly, listening in a way that makes the other person feel heard and understood. My first favorite listening cue is leaning. When we like something, we want to get closer to it. Leaning is kind of like a nonverbal bold or a nonverbal highlighter. When you lean into someone else as they speak, you're like highlighting their words for them. You're saying, I like this so much, I want to get closer to it. You can also lean as you speak to nonverbally bold or highlight your important point. So you can watch for the lean to decode interest or engagement. You can also encode or show the lean to show someone that you are so interested you want to lean into them. Next, head behavior is really important for listening. And that is because as we're deep listening, we're probably having a deep discussion and we're very attuned to someone's face and head movement. I want to teach you the slow triple nod. The slow triple nod looks like this. Research has found that when you do a slow triple nod, the other person speaks 67% longer. It's kind of like a nonverbal ... It's saying, I agree, tell me more, open up. Now, there's a cultural note here. In India, Bulgaria, and Pakistan, nodding means something slightly different, but outside of those cultures, we like a vertical nod to show affirmation. Now, be careful. Please don't nod too much. Over nodding is called bobbleheading. And if you are in your meetings over and over again, nodding, or on your dates, nodding too much, it is actually too high in warmth. It takes away from your competence. You want to use a nod like a highlighter. You wouldn't highlight the entire page of text or else nothing stands out. Only use a slow triple nod when you actually want to emphasize agreement or curiosity. One other note on the nod is the speed of your nod. Nonverbal cues are so nuanced. A slow triple nod shows engagement. Watch. A fast triple nod shows impatience. So be careful not to do a fast nod unless you want someone to speed up. What if you nod too much or you want another option for showing listening? I love the head tilt. So universally, across cultures, when we want to hear something better, we tilt our head to expose our ear, as if saying, tell me more. We also love when our pets do this. It makes us feel like they're listening to us. So if you are on mute on a video call or you're listening to someone and you want to show you are actively listening, you can literally tilt your head to the side to show I'm actively engaged. Research has actually found that if you have bad news to deliver, if you deliver it with a head tilt, it softens the blow. It literally shows, I know this is bad news, but I'm here to listen to your feedback. Use the head tilt as often as you can. Beware of the chin jut. A chin jut is actually a sign of aggression, invasiveness, sort of anger. So be careful. If you say something and someone goes, I don't think so, you might have just triggered a little bit of anger. Back up, build some rapport, ask questions. Also, be careful if you wear glasses, don't accidentally do what I lovingly call the Judge Judy. That's peering over your glasses at someone. It can accidentally come across as judgmental. You're better off taking off your glasses to see someone or looking straight through with that gaze. There are two big barriers we face with listening. First, our body. This all comes down to self-soothing gestures, or what the fancy scientists like to call pacification gestures. A comfort gesture or a self-soothing gesture is when we rub or move or have anxious movement to try to calm ourselves down or pacify ourselves or soothe ourselves. It's actually a leftover from when we were babies. When we were babies, we were upset. Our parents often gave us a pacifier. So we sucked on a pacifier or sucked on our thumb, or they would rub our back or rub our head to calm us down. Still, as adults, if we are feeling anxious or nervous, we might rub our own arms or rub the back of our neck or crack our knuckles as if trying to calm ourselves down or pacify our nerves. Here's the problem. The research is very clear on this. Oftentimes, those comfort gestures don't actually calm you down, and they are a barrier to listening. It makes you look nervous, which distracts the other person and also makes them catch the nervousness. Yes, self-soothing gestures can be contagious. So in this way, I want you to think about self-soothing gestures in two ways. One, if you see someone else self-soothing or anxiously rubbing or wringing their hands, take a note that they might be nervous and try to soothe them. Tell them they're good. They can trust you. They can open up to you. Go into more rapport-building behavior to help them feel more comfortable. Second, if you notice yourself doing those comfort gestures, you might try a displacement tactic. I always hated when someone told me to stop fidgeting because it's almost impossible to just stop fidgeting. Instead, I want you to displace the anxiety. Displacement tactics are when you replace the comfort gesture with an anchoring behavior. So this could be pinching your thumb and your forefinger together. That kind of activation puts all of your anxious energy into that, and that's not very visible, only you can feel it. Or it could be having a coffee mug or a clicker or a pen that you hold and you grip it to try to displace that anxiety into the pen or the mug or whatever you're holding. Now, context is very important here. Self-soothing gestures often mean nervousness, but in romantic settings, some self-soothing gestures can be flirtation. For example, if someone is giving a big presentation and fiddling with their hair or touching their earring, that could be a cluster with other anxiety cues. But if you're on a date with someone and someone is tucking their hair behind their ear or playing with their jewelry, it could be a preening gesture. And preening self-touch is a sign of flirtation. Always look for context and clusters. The second barrier to listening is in our face. Our face shows so much of our emotion, and one thing I want you to be aware of is what I call resting bothered face, or RBF. Resting bothered face is what your face looks while you are listening. Some of us have facial expressions or a face at rest that looks tired or sad or angry, even when you don't feel tired or sad or angry. For example, people always ask me, "Are you okay?" even when I'm just listening. And that's because my mouth tends to have a downward inflection. So if I have my mouth at rest, it actually is an upside down U. This is part of a microexpression of sadness. All this comes down to the universal facial expressions. Now, research is very interesting on universal facial expressions. The jury is still out on how much of our expressions are universal. But what we do know is that there are certain reactions we have to different emotions. When we're surprised, we tend to widen and open our face. When we're angry, we tend to harden our lower lids and press our lips together into a hard line. When we're afraid, we tend to widen our eyes and take in a deep breath. If your face at rest looks like a negative emotion, people will assume that you are listening with that negative emotion. You want to be aware of what your face looks like at rest. So what I highly recommend is next time you're on a video call, take a look at your face, relax it, and see, do you activate any part of your face? Are your corners of your mouth pointed down? Are you accidentally activating those two vertical lines between your eyebrow? Are you widening your eyes and listening with a little bit of fear eyes? This is what's accidentally coming across in your listening. It's very hard to fix our resting face, but we can be aware of it. For example, I know that people tend to think that I'm sad even when I'm not. So I use extra warmth cues, especially in that first impression. I say, "Oh, I'm so happy to be here. I've been so looking forward to this. What a pleasure to finally meet you. Those verbal warmth cues counteract my resting face so they know that I'm not actually sad. I know these comfort gestures can be very hard habits to break. We've literally been doing them our whole lives, and we don't realize they're taking away from our charisma. So a couple other tips for you. If you're a swayer or a pacer, you can try to lean in to ground yourself or lean back. I also will sometimes pace the stage, so sometimes I'll ask for a high bar table or a podium to lean my elbow on to anchor me. So look for anchors in your environment. Can you lean in or lean forward to lean on a desk? Can you lean to the side on a podium or a table? That can anchor your comfort gestures. And don't forget, you can set yourself up for success. Wear clothing or jewelry, have hairstyles that don't require comfort gestures. For example, I have a haircut that stays pretty still because I have the tendency to touch my hair. I am also very careful with the jewelry and the earrings that I wear to make sure that they're not making noise and I'm not tempted to adjust them. I also try not to wear outfits with pockets because I have the tendency to use a comfort gesture of putting my hands in my pockets. Set yourself up for success with knowing what you're wearing and how you're accessorizing yourself to try to make sure you're not too tempted to comfort gesture with what you're wearing. I think there are two mental hacks when it comes to active listening. The first, as we've been talking about, is our nonverbal cues, watching theirs, responding with ours. But the second is your mindset. Is your mindset to build a connection with this person? If you're listening for verbal cues, answers that you can bring up again, you're listening to remember. I find if I'm bored or if I'm disengaged, it means I'm not listening to try to remember for my future conversations. While you're listening to someone, think, what could I bring up that's going to light them up next time I talk to them? What could I check in with them about over text or over email? What could I ask them about next time we see each other? Anything that's lighting them up, where they have a lot of positive clusters, that's what you want to bring up next time, and that listening to remember will make you an active listener. You know, I love the old adage, you have one mouth and two ears, so you should listen twice as much as you talk. But there are good opportunities to talk, and I think those are called capitalization. Capitalization is when you take what someone else is saying and you capitalize it or make it bigger. So if someone is sharing a story about hope, and you have something to add to that to make it bigger or better and contribute to their story, say it. If they're talking about something that makes them sad or upset, and you have something that could help them with that sadness or that upset, say it. Your goal is to capitalize on the emotion that they are trying to give you. That's showing them, not only am I listening to you, I actually want to be additive. I want to make it bigger. I want to make it better. And that's the perfect way to gauge how much you should say back. The biggest warning sign that listening is going off track is if they are not asking you questions back. If you're saying something and they're trying to jump in with what they say, or they aren't asking follow-up questions, it might mean that you're misaligned. I would take more time to listen and try to attune to what they are trying to say until they start asking you questions back. My favorite question is, what do you think about that? If they start asking for your opinion, you know it's your good turn to speak. Now, let's say you're talking and they never ask you a question back, even though you are actively listening. This is called a conversational narcissist. It's someone who loves to hear themselves talk and doesn't care what you have to say. That's a sign that this might not be your person.
Want to support the channel? Join the Big Think members community where you get access to videos early, ad-free.